Runoff Candidate Forum hosted by concerned citizens taking pride in the Southwest Side in partnership with Georgia Stand Up, the People's Agenda, and the Ivy Community Center. Tonight we have gathered to hear directly from candidates seeking public office to provide voters with an opportunity to become informed before heading to the polls. Thank you all for being here. And before we go any further, let's recognize some very special people. You saw them at the door. You saw them greeting guests. You saw them helping everyone get checked in. And one of them just happened to be my grandma. Let's make some noise for the Golden Girls. And let's show some love. Everybody was doing a little move when y'all walked in the door tonight. Let's show some love for our official DJ tonight, DJ Zero Z. We also want to thank the build-up team for setting up tonight's event. All of the chairs, all of the tables, everything you see has been set up by one crew, and you saw them in the parking lot. One lady was trying to get me to give them a number, but I ain't do that. But anyway, give it up for building up for making tonight possible. And before we move forward, let's take a moment to thank the men and women of law enforcement throughout the state of Georgia who work every day to keep our communities safe. And we like to extend a special thanks to Fulton County Sheriff's Office and Atlanta Police Department for patrolling the area as we are in here tonight, helping ensure a safe event for everyone. Give it up for them, y'all. So now, before we officially begin tonight's forum, I'd like to invite a leader who proudly represents the community we're gathered in tonight. Please help me welcome District 11 Councilman Wayne Martin.
So good to see you tonight. That's my Morehouse brother right there. You can't tell, he brings the energy. That's right. He brings the energy because he loves his community. I am so grateful tonight to welcome you all to District 11, the community that raised me, and it is an honor of my life to serve in this district and really to welcome you all into Southwest Atlanta. Did you enjoy yourself? You might have a little bit of traffic, but you saw some great scenery along the way, and you were able to enjoy yourself on your way out. If you get a little hungry, there are lots of great restaurants to stop at and enjoy yourself in District 11. But tonight is really about unity in our community, and I want to make sure that I thank our folks that are taking pride in Southwest Atlanta. Can we clap it up for Honey G and her group, her team, Georgia Stand Up, I see the Georgia Men for Democracy are represented here, all of these candidates that are really vying for these very important seats. We're living in dire times. I want to preach to the choir. I know you all know exactly what's going on, but Maynard Jackson, who mentored me, would always say that all politics are local. He said that we ought to be more concerned about what's happening at the school board and on our city councils than we are in Washington, D.C. He didn't say not to be concerned about what's happening in Washington, D.C., but we ought to be more concerned with the folks that are making those decisions day to day in our neighborhoods and communities. That's what tonight is about. So thank you all for joining us in District 11. To these candidates, thank you for offering yourself in service. And I will say this, we're going to be a better community if we all come together to get the work of progress done. That's right. Get the work of progress done in our community with unity at our backs. Thank you again and welcome. Let's have a great forum on tonight.
Give it up again for my man, Councilman Wayne Martin. All right, our first partner is a respected leader in voting rights and civic engagement whose work impacted communities across Georgia for decades. She is the founder and CEO of the People's Agenda. Please give a warm applause to Miss Helen Butler. And if you need a ride to the polls, she do them for free. All right, thank you, Ms. Butler. Our next partner is a powerhouse leader whose impact can be felt throughout Georgia. She is a White House champion of change and the founder and CEO of Georgia Stand Up. Please welcome Miss Deborah Scott.
Thank you. All right, y'all in the right place? Okay, so first we're going to have good rules. We know that. We know the moderator's going to keep us honest. But I just want to say thank you for coming out and being interested in this runoff race, right? So I know everyone's registered to vote? Yes. And you're going to vote? Yes. And you're going to arrive with 25, right, each, right? Because we know historically these runoffs don't produce a lot of voters. So we know that the margin is going to be small. So we need everyone, I don't care who you're voting for, but everyone have to get our cousins out. You know our cousins. The cousins. Pookie, who else? Ray Ray, Michaela, all of the cousins. Will you promise me you'll get the cousins out? Okay, this first family, but I need the cousins to come out. All right, the cousins that may not know that their vote is important, and even if they didn't vote last time, they can vote this time. So I wanted to just take a couple of minutes. Georgia Stand Up is a partner with these organizations. We're just one of the organizations that have helped with this whole ecosystem for the South. We're in serious trouble. Y'all know that, right? We're in serious. So beyond this runoff, beyond this race, we need you all to get involved and get in the fight. And it's a fight, isn't it, Helen? It's a fight. So we need them to be at the Capitol on June 17th, right? We're having a rally at the Capitol on June 17th because it's a special session, and we need y'all to be there. We'll send you all more information. We have your information. If you came, make sure you signed up so that you can stay involved. But beyond the runoff, we will have many opportunities for your organizations, for individuals to volunteer to help get the vote out beyond the runoff, going into the November election. Will you work with these organizations that are really trying to do the good work of getting people out? Will you do that beyond this election? That's what we need you to do. We just can't show up for our favorite candidates. We got to show up for our communities because they're trying to foot on our neck or something. I don't know what they're doing, but we're going to keep it honest. One thing I wanted to say is today is a very important day because Miss Honeybee, Felicia Lowry Barksdale, is retiring from being an educator for 35 years. So I say she's rewiring, not retiring. So I'd like Miss Honeybee to come on up. And, you know, she said, what am I going to do when I retire? I said, you're not retiring, you're rewiring. And the fact that it's today, that this is organized by this one, and this is her retirement day, and this is what she's going to do next. She's going to help hold us accountable and keep us organized and do the thing. So on behalf of the community, we want to say thank you, Miss Honeybee, for all the young people that you have taught to read, that you have taught, that you have you did practices with. You've done all kinds of things over the 35 years. And of course, personally, I've known her for about 45 years. She's my line sister. This is Felicia Lowry. That's from everybody. All right, thank you so much.
Boy, look at that, line sisters. I ain't gonna tell you all the stuff they told me they used to do at Clark College. Y'all give it up again for that. Look, this my mama, okay? Don't be looking like this is my mama, so I love her so much. I'm so glad. Now you pour out into them kids, you can pay some attention to us. Now I'm just playing. I love you. Y'all give it up again for Miss Honeybee.
I just want to thank everyone for coming out today. I want to thank the partners, the Ivy Community Foundation. I want to thank Georgia Stand Up, People's Agenda. And I want to thank Alpha Kappa Omega Chapter for supporting us. And I want to thank you, the community, who cared enough to come out here to hear these, the people that you're going to hire, who are going to be working for us. We need people to be in places so that they are working for people and not for power, and it's not about politics. And the reason why we came up with this Concerned Citizens and we wanted to have the forums because we wanted our community to be empowered. And this is your opportunity. Listen, take it in, and make the decision of who you're going to vote for. Have a good one. So are y'all ready for the candidates? Absolutely. So now we're getting ready to get to our moderators so we can get started.
Come on, Miss Honeybee, you got to do your thing. Be the change. Come on.
Be the change.
Say be the change.
Be the change.
Be the change.
Y'all give it up again for Sunny B. All right, y'all look good out there now. Look like church. I'm about to start singing. This is the day. This is the day that the Lord has made. Oh, I will. No, okay, stop. All right, look, y'all. Let me give it up for our next section, y'all. We got our moderators' introductions. Let's give it up for our first moderator. She's an award-winning journalist and public affairs leader whose voice has informed and empowered communities throughout Georgia. You may have heard her on V103, Miss Dr. Maria Boynton. Now do that dance you did when you walked in here. Don't come out here. Okay. All right, y'all. Look, our next moderator is broadcasting trailblazer and award-winning journalist whose voice has informed Georgia audience for decades. You might have seen on WSB TV and now ANF. Give it up for Miss Monica Pearson. All right, I'm gonna leave it up to the professionals.
Test. So we want to make sure everyone understands the rules. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And let's all try to be cordial. Can we do that?
Yes.
Thank you. You sure?
Yes.
Okay. The purpose of tonight's event is to provide you, the voters, with an opportunity to hear directly from the candidates who are in the runoff seeking public office. Questions have been submitted and selected by members of the community. Now, each candidate will receive a 90-second opening statement. Each candidate will answer 2 community-selected questions. Hurry up.
All right. Candidates will have 90 seconds to answer each question. Each candidate will receive a 2-minute closing statement. Our official timekeeper this evening is Ms. Stacy Robinson, who will ensure that all candidates receive equal speaking time. We respectfully ask audience members, that's y'all, to remain courteous, respectful throughout tonight's forum. Monica?
We did invite both of the candidates for governor in the runoff in the Republican Party. Burt Jones did notify us that he would not be able to come because of a schedule conflict. We did not receive any response from Rick Jackson. So now let us begin with the lieutenant governor's race. The lieutenant governor serves as president of the Georgia Senate and plays a major role in shaping legislation and public policy throughout our state. Please welcome to the stage Josh McLaren and Nabila Islam Parks.
Josh McLaren, you have 90 seconds for your opening statement.
Thank you so much, Dr. Boynton and Ms. Pearson. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much to the partners who have set this event up, to Councilman Martin and everybody else who's made this a success. My name is Josh McLaren. I'm currently a state senator in North Fulton County, and I've been in the state legislature 8 years. I was in the House before I was in the Senate. I flipped a Republican state House seat up in North Fulton County. Thank you, Councilman. Back in 2018, and I've been doing the work on the front lines ever since to try to fight back against these attacks on our civil rights, on the cost of living, and our basic democracy. I'll put it to you quickly like this. I got 60-plus state legislator endorsements for lieutenant governor, and just in the last 2 weeks, I was endorsed by Stacey Abrams and both U.S. Senators Ossoff and Warnock, and I'm so grateful for their support. Thank you. What I think this coalition we've been building for over a year speaks to is that we want to go back to listening to the people. We want to go all over the state, build bridges, build a statewide coalition that actually addresses people's needs. Because I feel like so much of what's going on in the media, both DC and in Georgia, is about distraction and about division. The things that they keep us focused on in the media, on our phones, on social media, is designed to keep us asleep when it comes to how are we going to really build affordable housing? How are we going to actually make sure that we're zoning so that you can build a starter home that somebody under the age of 40 can afford? If you get out of college and you got a good job, you should be able to afford a home. So stuff like that is what we've got to work on to get Georgia back on the right track. Thank you very much.
Is Nabila Islam Parks with us tonight? She is not. Then that means you're going to get your questions.
All right, I'm back up.
All righty. Many residents in Southwest Atlanta are concerned about rising housing costs and property taxes. What specific policies would you support to help longtime residents remain in their homes?
So this is where we can say something bipartisan. Republicans do talk about tax relief, and that's the only thing they've got on affordability, right? Democrats, I think, do a much better job of talking about specifics on health care and housing. With health care, we got to expand Medicaid. We got to get those premium subsidies back that were lost in December of last year. But let's talk about tax relief briefly, because what Republicans will do, and we saw this, and my Senator Kemp, I see my colleague in the audience, he can tell you what we did during the legislative session was we argued with Republicans not about tax relief, but about how to do tax relief. We should not be doing tax relief for big corporations and everybody at the top that's already making millions of billions of dollars and getting state handouts in order to facilitate that. Republicans were proposing a type of tax relief and income tax relief and property tax relief that they said was for everybody, but is primarily for the very top bracket. So if somebody at the bottom gets $20 back, somebody at the top gets $20,000 back. That's not the way to do this, because you'll blow a hole in our state government and our local governments, and we won't be able to pay for the basic services that we need. What I want to see is targeted tax relief for seniors on properties, and I want to see targeted tax relief for lower income people on property taxes, because the dream of home ownership should be attainable to anybody who tries their best, works hard, and is responsible. And I think right now we are seeing people get priced out of their communities. But we should not be doing tax relief in a way that only rewards the rich and breaks our state and local governments. We should be looking out for working people. And I should add, I'm endorsed by organized labor because they know I'm looking out for working people as well. Thank you.
Your second question. Residents often feel that economic development happens in other parts of Metro Atlanta before it ever reaches Southwest Atlanta. How would you ensure state investments reach communities like District 11?
It's a great question. I think we see this with the data center conversation, any of these conversations about investment and where dollars and corporate development goes. A lot of times, the more favorable development goes further in town, and it goes to or North Metro Atlanta, where I represent, and the people who already have amenities are getting investment, and the undesirable things end up going to places where people have less political power to push back. And there has to be a reversal of that trend. Now, any politician can stand up here in a suit and say, well, we got to fight for whoever, right? But the point I want to share with you is there's a difference between talking and walking. And what I have tried to do on my campaign is go talk to every corner of the state about disparities in investment. I've heard something over and over again traveling the whole state, which is this state has given away millions and billions of dollars to big corporations to site their factories, their facilities, but they don't use local labor, they don't care about the local government's infrastructure, the water, the power, and they don't care about making sure there's enough affordable housing for people when they do it. I don't want to just cut big red ribbons with scissors. What I want to do is get real people in the Capitol to testify in committee. People in this room, we need to close that gap. It's not just souls to the polls, it's souls to the Gold Dome. We need people to be showing up and telling their stories about the way that investment, if it's not done in a way that's targeted to help people, it can end up ravaging communities by gentrifying and by causing the property values to change in a way that makes it where you get priced out of your own community. So it's about storytelling. That's what I really want to do as Lieutenant Governor, is amplify stories of people who are going through this and make sure that that resonates in the halls of power in the Gold Dome.
Since your other candidate is not here, I do have an additional question. One of the problems that we're seeing in the southwest part of this area is they want to put data centers here. What would you do to stop that?
Well, at the very least, before we keep expanding down this road, because this is kind of like the way I talk about ICE. You know, Donald Trump has $70 billion into ICE, and he wanted to train people really fast, but they didn't train them at all, so they ended up murdering people in the streets, right? When you move too fast, things break. That's kind of the whole idea. And I think we're worried about how fast the data center thing is moving. What it needs is regulation. I think there's at least two types of regulation that we have to put on as guardrails before it goes any further. They got to stop using water and power like they're using it right now. We got to have standards, environmental standards on these things to make them more efficient. And then they got to pay their own way. Right now, we're all paying for the data centers that get put in. We got to internalize costs. And there's bipartisan movement in the General Assembly to try to make sure they pay their own way. But I also think you need local control. You need to make sure that the local community is not showing up by the hundreds and protesting and getting overruled by some sort of backroom deal. This is absolutely a hot button issue for our times, in Georgia more than elsewhere. And we need to give communities the ability to speak on these issues formally and have real power in addressing them. So I think this, again, is a metaphor for development in general. I mentioned a minute ago because people feel like they're not being heard right now on this issue and a lot of other issues. And we've got to put our money where our mouth is when it comes to participatory democracy and making sure that people have a voice in how these things are cited.
Mr. McLaurin, what do you see as the primary responsibility of the Lieutenant Governor of Georgia?
Well, just so everybody knows, Lieutenant Governor, President of the Senate, which you mentioned.
Right.
And the Constitution only says two things. It says you replace the governor if the governor has to step down, and it says that you preside over the Senate, but it doesn't get more specific than that. So the Senate rules, which are adopted by a majority of the Senate, determine how the Lieutenant Governor functions. And right now, Burt Jones has a lot of power because Republicans in the Senate gave it to him. Now, I suspect that if a Democrat wins Lieutenant Governor, Republicans in the Senate majority are going to think a little differently about the role of Lieutenant Governor, which is why you got to have a bulldog. You got to have somebody in that position that's going to be creative and use that position regardless of what they put in those Senate rules. And I asked my colleague, I got a reputation for running out to the hallway, 11 Alive, WSB, Fox 5, Atlanta News First. We have to tell the story of what Democrats are doing in the General Assembly to help people. We've got 70% approval for all this stuff we want to do. Expanded Medicaid, protecting reproductive health, common sense gun control, make sure there's pediatric safe storage. All the stuff we want to do is very popular. But the reason that people don't keep voting for Democrats is because they don't hear Democrats making our case. Right? Republicans, they dominate social media and the airwaves. They're 10 years ahead of us on big data and sending, everybody's grandma right to your phone exactly what you're supposed to hear. And so Democrats have to meet the 21st century when it comes to communication, and that's what I want to bring you. I'm an attorney. I practice in court. I want to tell our story so that people go to the TV, they go to the dinner table, and they think, wait a minute. The state Republicans we're electing are not serving us. They are not giving us the policies that we have been asking for. Brian Kemp says three things in every speech: go dogs, Waffle House, and keep chopping. But he's not talking about the issues that really matter, the housing, healthcare. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So now we'll ask you for your closing statement. You have 2 minutes for your closing statement, Mr. McLaurin.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pearson. I think I've tried to show, not tell. What we need this year is fighters. We need people who have a spine, who can speak truth to power. And I feel like the Trump moment, the Trump era, the 10 years we've seen in this chaos across the country, evil is not just acting out against somebody. Evil is indifference. Evil is when we look the other way because we could be speaking up and saying something about what's happening, but instead we choose to say that's somebody else's problem. So I think the real leaders we need right now to step up and stand in the gap are the ones who aren't afraid to confront what's happening. And I'll tell you, when it comes to Trump, I did a segment on the Senate floor called Trump Morning News to remind the state Republicans just how bad Trump was, and they didn't like it very much. I did a little newscaster. Good morning, I'm the senator from the 14th, and this is Trump Morning News. Trump Morning News, your number one leader in Trump News Entertainment, keeping you apprised of the health of your democracy. And I would tell them about what Trump was doing on a day-to-day basis, and they'd plug their ears, they'd go to the anteroom and get a coffee because they didn't want to hear it. But we need people who can create, MLK Jr. said, foster a tension, a righteous tension, so that they cannot turn away from the problems that we're facing. And you do that with your voice, and you do that by speaking truth to power. And that's why I think I've got these endorsements. That's why I think there's a Democratic consensus with my campaign. I've got, Georgia Equality, Young Democrats of Georgia, Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, Georgia Association of Educators, public school teachers. They're all with me because I think they believe that I can go into a hostile environment that's Republican controlled, but make something out of it. Be able to tell our story in a way that transforms politics and can change the conversation so that we can start working for working people and doing what we really need to do in Georgia for people to prosper. So I'm really grateful for your time this evening. This is a runoff, so usually not this many people are interested. But thank you for being civically engaged. Thank you for caring. My name again is Josh McLaurin. It's been an honor to serve you for 8 years, and I hope to be your next Lieutenant Governor. Thank you very much.
Let's hear it for our Lieutenant Governor candidate, Josh McLaurin, everybody.
Now we move to our next race, which is Georgia Insurance Commissioner. The Insurance Commissioner plays a critical role in protecting consumers, regulating the insurance industry, and helping Georgians navigate some of life's most difficult moments. Please help me welcome to the stage DeAndre Mathis and Keisha Waits.
We will begin with 90-second opening statements. DeAndre Mathis, you have 90 seconds for your opening statement.
Evening, everyone. Thanks so much for coming out, and thanks so much for having me. My name is DeAndre Mathis. I was born right here in Atlanta, raised on the west side of town, in a quiet little community called Bowen Homes. Went to Douglas High School from there. Went to Douglas High School from there, U.S. Navy. Served in Desert Storm. I received a Combat Action Medal. Came home, went to Georgia State. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting, a master's degree in taxation. I was a tax accountant for Ernst & Young for a number of years, as well as Southern Company. Then I transitioned into an entrepreneurial phase. I invested in real estate for a while. For the last 21 years, I've been an insurance and financial service rep. The last 10, 12 years of that career is what has really brought me here. I have been ever frustrated with the misfair treatment of black and brown folk in this state as it relates to insurance. They're using credit and zip codes, and they have nothing to do with your loss history or your risk factor. I want to change that. My name is DeAndre Mathis. I am endorsed by Stacey Abrams. Please vote DeAndre Mathis. Thanks so much.
Next up, Keisha Waits, you have 90 seconds for your opening statement.
Thank you so much to our host, the moderators, and for you, each of you, for coming out this evening. There's no secret that this is a very tumultuous climate that we're living in today. I am grateful for everyone that's made the decision to offer themselves for public service, and I think that's very important. But I also believe that there's not one person in this room that has not been impacted by the insurance premiums that have increased throughout the state of Georgia, whether that's automobile insurance or whether that's homeowners insurance. So I don't have to be a policy person or an expert to understand that. But I will submit to you that I spent 3 terms in the Georgia House of Representatives where we talked about policy surrounding insurance premiums. Public Safety Committee, Finance Committee, Transportation Committee. I also had the wonderful privilege of serving on the Atlanta City Council, and it's great to see my good friend, Mr. Councilman Martin, out tonight. Thank you for your service. So very quickly, my colleague has already spoken about the fact that many people are not aware that your insurance premiums are based upon your credit scores and your zip codes. I live in the city of Atlanta, but my mother lives in Conyers. Her premium is half of what I pay in homeowners insurance. Her driving record is worse than mine, but yet her premium is lower than mine. And so, again, I'm happy she reached that benefit, but I think it should be based upon fairness and equity. And I have those relationships at the local, the state, and county levels to address those issues. Thank you so much.
Thank you, candidates. We now move to our first community selected question. DeAndre Mathis, your question is as follows. Many Georgia families are struggling with rising homeowners and auto insurance premiums. What will you do to make insurance more affordable while protecting consumers?
Well, the first thing I'll do is, because I know where to search, I'll leverage what I believe is corrupt behavior by insurance executives in the business. The Insurance Commission about 12 years ago, thanks to the Republican legislature, actually lost the power to regulate rates. But if you know where to search, if you know the corporate executives who are practicing corrupt pricing policies, you can present that information, and through the leverage of the investigative power of the insurance commissioner, I can stop rate increases and get them down on day one because I know where to look.
That same question now goes to Ms. Wade. Many Georgia families are struggling with rising homeowners and auto insurance premiums. What will you do to make sure insurance is more affordable while protecting consumers?
Thank you for the question. So I think it's important to understand that the General Assembly regulates those types of issues. So the first thing I would do is work with members of the General Assembly to change policy. It is my hope that we will change the governor's office, but nonetheless, we need votes in the House and the Senate to change policy. And I'm certainly looking forward to working with my good friend, State Senator Kemp in the back to start those conversations. But at the end of the day, we have to work with the General Assembly to create policy to ban and outlaw zip code as well as credit score discrimination. Other states don't deal with this, such as Maryland, New York, as well as California. So I would like to work with members of the General Assembly, hopefully the next governor, that we can change that policy in the state of Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you.
DeAndre Mathis, same question. Many seniors and working families say they don't understand their insurance policies until a claim is denied. How would you improve consumer education and accountability within the insurance industry?
If I'm elected, we are going to create a tracking system whereby complaints are logged and tracked and made public. Then we're going to make public our investigative efforts toward resolving those complaints. And then we're going to make public the insurance company's resolution to those complaints. I believe that transparency is the only way that we get insurance executives to act appropriately. Once that is in place, we're going to create a grading system. And so just like in school, you have an A, B, C, or D based on the insurance company's response to that complaint. Then folks can make an educated decision on who they want to do business with.
Keisha, could you, Ms. Wade, please return to the podium for the second community selected question. Many seniors and working families say they don't understand their insurance policies until a claim is denied. How would you improve consumer education and accountability within the insurance industry?
Well, I believe this is an area where we actually, as the next insurance commissioner, can impact. We start with education. We teach them what role the insurance commissioner plays, and that's advocacy. The second thing is that we have the power to fine insurance companies when they act in bad faith as it relates to denying claims. Now, it's no secret throughout the state of Georgia that we've had a number of claims as it relates to the number of hurricanes that we've had throughout the years. But insurance companies win, bet, and lose based upon what happens to you. However, there were many months and years where there was no activity throughout the state of Georgia. And so for that reason, we may have to make sure that there's a level of balance. And so I support the idea of fining insurance companies when we find them to act in bad faith. I also support the idea of ensuring that we review claims that are denied and create that role as an advocacy, good to see you, create an advocacy role in the insurance commissioner's rate versus it rubber stamping everything that those insurance companies do. I am not naive. The idea somehow that we're going to put insurance companies out of business or change policy overnight is not reasonable. But what we can do is hold them accountable, as my colleague has indicated, and we can educate consumers as to what their actual rights are. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're going to move to closing statements. Mr. Mathis, you have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
My name is DeAndre Mathis again, and since February 1, I've gone statewide campaigning to be your insurance commissioner. The reason I'm out here is, again, because I've grown increasingly frustrated just watching the insurance executives continue to give themselves $1 million of bonus and then create this narrative around hurricanes and whatnot about the fact that they're losing money. If you want this problem stopped, day one, I'll put it like this. Forget all the fancy words. After February, folks can study for months on insurance and give you a good spiel, but let's reduce this to something as simple as a well. So I've gone all over Georgia, and when I'm talking to rural folks, I'll talk about a well digger. If you've got a well you need dug, you can go and hire anybody to dig a hole. But if you don't have the expertise of a well digger, you don't know exactly where to dig. And so you could end up with a yard full of holes, and it might step out your door and fall into one. I'm DeAndre Mathis. Please vote for me in the runoff and don't fall in a hole.
Keisha Waits, you have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Thank you so much. Again, thank you to our hosts, to the moderator, to our organizers for the event tonight. I'm grateful and appreciative, given the gravity that it takes to campaign statewide. For many of us, if you have a toothache, you're going to go to a dentist. For those of us who have heart issues, you're going to go to a cardiologist. It's my understanding that I am the only candidate remaining in this race with any type of legislative and policy experience. I think that will be necessary. I have a proven track record of working across the aisle with Republicans as well as Democrats. I'm the only candidate in this race who has any relationships at the state level that I believe will be necessary to be successful in this particular role. Again, I thank you so much for this opportunity. We're living in very tumultuous times. Regardless of who you vote, please be engaged. Please talk to your neighbors about the seriousness of what's at stake. We have a governor's race right now where we have an unprecedented opportunity to make change in Georgia. So vote all the way down the ballot. My name is Keisha Waits. I am not a Johnny-come-lately. I did not just show up. I have been in the community for many, many years, and I thank you for those who supported me. I look forward to working with you. For those of you who did not, my website is KeishaWaits.org. Please visit the website, and thank you again for this opportunity.
You know, these have been some pretty good questions.
Yeah, they are.
Some excellent questions.
And some pretty
Good responses,
Yeah.
too. Okay, what's up next?
well, thank the candidates, and let's hear it for our insurance commissioner candidates. Thank you, candidates. Our next race is for Georgia Secretary of State. The Secretary of State? Yeah. The Secretary of State oversees elections, business filings, professional licensing, and numerous services that impact millions of Georgians every year. Now, we need you to know that only one of the candidates could be with us this evening, and that is Dana Barrett. Penny Brown Reynolds could not attend. Please welcome Dana Barrett.
You have a 90 seconds, Dana Barrett, for your opening statement.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for having me. Good to see you again. I am Fulton County Commissioner Dana Barrett, and I'm running to be Georgia's next Secretary of State because too many Georgians are struggling right now. People cannot afford rent or childcare or health care. We all know gas prices are now going back up. Grocery prices are certainly not coming down. They're going the wrong direction. And I'm a single mom and a breast cancer survivor, so I know what it's like to have more bills coming in than money in the bank. And I know what it's like to have terrible health insurance and crippling medical debt. But the only way we solve the affordability crisis in Georgia or address any of the other issues that are plaguing our communities is by choosing the leaders we believe are going to bring real solutions to the table. And the only way we do that is with free, fair, and secure elections. That's why I was willing to go to jail to protect our elections in Fulton County. It's why I was out front when the FBI raided our warehouse. It's why I've been fighting for our elections every single day as a county commissioner, and it's why I'm running to be Georgia's next Secretary of State.
Thank you, Commissioner Barrett. We now move to our first community selected question. Dana Barrett, your question is as follows. Voter participation is critical to democracy. What will you do to increase voter confidence and participation while ensuring elections remain secure and accessible?
Thank you for the question. Look, one of the things that our current Secretary of State's office has not done well at all is community outreach. We get our little postcard in the mail, if we're lucky, that tells us where our precinct is. And that's the end of it. We can do so much better. When I'm your next Secretary of State, we will have a complete outreach program from the Secretary of State's office to voters. We will do more to empower all 159 counties to be able to reach out directly to voters, not only with just what your precinct is, but to remind people of the registration deadlines, how to get mail-in ballots if you need one, how young people can vote if they're in college in another town. There's no outreach at all happening right now. So I think that's part of getting people engaged. But also, and I think to the other part of the question, we have to rebuild trust in our elections. Our elections run well in Fulton County in particular, but statewide, our elections run well. What we're facing is a campaign of misinformation and disinformation that is making people believe that we do not know how to run elections. And the reason they're doing that is because they want people to say, it doesn't work anyway, I'm not coming out. And when you think about trying to turn around a lie, it's hard to do, right? If somebody has accused you of cheating and you have to prove you didn't cheat, what's the way you do it? Radical transparency. You show them your phone, you say, here's everything we have, and that's what we have to do from the Secretary of State's office. Engage in radical transparency.
Because you're here by yourself, we are going to ask you 2 additional questions.
Okay.
And my question has to do with, we're going to be having a special session soon, and there is a move to redraw the districts so they will be basically Republican and African American voters will lose representation. What would you do as Secretary of State to fix that?
Yeah, so look, the Secretary of State's office does not directly impact the redistricting of the maps. I will say that I think I'm probably as appalled as all of you are that they're even considering redistricting right now. It's absolutely appalling that that's what's happening in Georgia. The way to combat what is likely going to happen in this special session is with massive voter turnout. The way let's clap for that. I mean, the way we fight back is to show up and show out, work the polls, vote in every single election, whether it is a municipal election, a runoff election, show up and vote. They can't count us out if we show up and vote. And so that's why I think what the Secretary of State's office can do, getting back to the answer to the last question, is make sure everybody knows how to do it, when to do it, who's on the ballot. Let's get all the information out to all the voters and let's show up and turn out. And as Secretary of State, I can facilitate that process with information.
My question for you, Commissioner Barrett, problems have been determined to be in our current voting system, the way we vote, the way we go to the polling places, the way we submit the paper, you know how they zoom in through the machine and all of that. I mean, but nothing was done in the legislative session to change it. I mean, as Secretary of State, how would you get in there and make sure that the way we vote is the right way and is amicable to all?
Yeah, so on the first part of the question, this whole issue about the QR codes, which is also going to be addressed in the special session, which happens the day after the runoff, June 17th, they have one choice, in my opinion, and that is to postpone any change to our election system in this midterm election year. They must postpone it. Everybody needs to show up at the Capitol on June 17th and protest and make sure they know we're not for the gerrymandering and we're not for these last minute chaos changes to our election. But I think the other answer is that they passed this bill, I think it was HB 214, 2 sessions ago, asking for this QR code technology to be changed. 2 more sessions went by and they did nothing to tell us how to implement those changes. No funding was provided, no direction. As Secretary of State, when the legislature makes a change, whether I agree with it or not, I will be coming up with a budget for the change, a plan for the change, a policy for the change, and I will be giving it right back to the legislators so they know what they've asked for, and then making sure all 159 counties have that plan and we know how to implement as soon as the legislature passes the change.
And our last question. Southwest Atlanta is home to many small businesses.
Yeah.
What improvements would you make to help entrepreneurs navigate state licensing and business registration processes?
Thank you so much for that question. I'm a small business owner myself. I've owned a small bookstore coffee shop in Roswell, Georgia, which I sort of decided to do without knowing how to do it. So I went into that process the same way a lot of new business owners do, trying to figure it out. And going to the Secretary of State's website currently, there's no help there. So look, I started my conversation tonight talking about affordability. One of the ways we make our financial lives better is by building wealth through building businesses. And right now, we have an antiquated website. You know, I've been traveling around the state, and I talked to a contractor, a general contractor, who was telling me that he's got to pull subcontractor licenses when he's out in the field. But he can't do it because the site is not mobile friendly. This is 2026. We need systems that are up to date, that work for people the way they work, which is often on their phones. So as your next Secretary of State, one of the first things I will do is modernize all the systems so they work effectively and efficiently for our small businesses and people who need licensing. But more than that, the Secretary of State's office could be providing so much more in terms of resources for small businesses. Right now, there's very little on the website or that the Secretary of State's office provides. That is something I will absolutely do. Provide contacts for access to capital, information for businesses on what to do in an emergency. Once again, like the election side, there's so much more the Secretary of State's office can do in terms of information sharing and outreach, and that's what I plan to do.
You now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Thank you very much. Listen, I really appreciate you all coming out to hear from all the candidates tonight. I think somebody started the evening by saying, people don't turn out for the runoffs. We need y'all to turn out. These are important races at every level. We need the best people on the ticket to win in November. I have been in this fight. I think Senator McLaurin said as he was closing, we need fighters in these races. I'm a proven fighter in this Fulton County race currently, in this Fulton County Commission seat currently to protect our elections. I faced jail for protecting our elections. I've been out front nonstop since I got elected 4 years ago. That's the fight I'm ready to bring statewide as your next Secretary of State. Donald Trump and his MAGA cronies know that if we all vote, they lose. They're trying to stop us from voting. We cannot have that. We need everybody to come out, and we need a fighter in this race in November. I'm that fighter. I would be honored to earn your vote as Georgia's next Secretary of State.
Dr. Maria, we
Yes.
have a change in program.
Okay.
We would like for all elected officials in the room to please stand. All elected officials, please stand, so we can give you a round of applause. And all those running for office who are not appearing on the stage tonight, I've been told you're to come to the stage to introduce yourself. So anyone who is running for office and not in a runoff, we would like for you to come up and introduce yourself to the audience. Ruben will bring you to the area.
Special treat.
Special treat. Is there anyone in a runoff who's not in District 11? Anyone who's not in District 11 who's in a runoff?
This is great. This is really great. I think you're going to hear some from folks you didn't expect to hear from tonight, which is good for y'all, right?
Yes.
I can't help this, but I just love these two so much. Can y'all give it up for our moderators?
Well, I'm giving it up to the audience because the questions have been exceptional. I wish some of those questions had been used in the debates.
Hello, Southwest Atlanta. My name is Benny Crane, and I'm seeking the office of City Councilman in District 3 in the great city of South Fulton. South Fulton happens to be the second largest city in all of Fulton County and number 3 in the state of Georgia, with over 110,000 people strong. Truly a city on the rise.
All right.
I'm running for this district because I love South Fulton, and I'm not saying that just because I'm running for public office. I say that because I lived it. I raised my family there for over 50 years. I've worked in it. I worship in it. And I want to continue to walk the same streets that you walk in the city of South Fulton. I'm running because I believe The city of South Fulton, District 3, deserves a leader that will listen, will act, and will deliver what the community needs. I don't just ask for your vote tonight. I need your support. I need your ideas. I need your visionary personalities to come forward. As we are a city on the rise, I need you to go to my website. It's simple. It's Benny Crane. Here's a short story. It's a lot of heavy lifting that we've got to do all over this state and even in our city, and certainly in District 3. Everybody knows that it takes a crane to lift a heavy load, and my name is Benny Crane, and I want to be your city councilman.
To our timekeeper, Stacy, how much time is each one being given? 60 seconds.
Hello, everyone. I am Kayvon Arnold. I am running for State House District 62, which encompasses Atlanta, East Point, College Park, and South Fulton. I'm blessed to be here. Thank you guys for having us here to come up on the stage at this present time. And basically, I'm running because three things are near and dear to my heart, and I live it. Affordable health care, because my dad is a retired government employee, and he often has to make decisions on whether he's going to pay his bills or if he's going to get his prescriptions. Secondly, workforce development. Everybody doesn't want to go to school. However, we should be able to give them tools to be successful, to be able to make their own revenue, become entrepreneurs, and generate that money back into the community. But most importantly, my third reason is fully funding public schools. I'm a product of public schools from Asa G. Hilliard, which was my olive all the way to being a proud graduate of Tri-Cities High School. Public schools work because my daughter is the valedictorian of the 2026 class at Tri-Cities High School. So I ask that you go back to the polls, think about Kayvon Arnold. I started with 3 men and myself, and I'm #1 on the ballot.
Yeah.
Next candidate. Good evening.
My name is Nikki Porche, and I am in a runoff. I am running for State Labor Commissioner for the great state of Georgia. Now, I want to start off by saying I live in Southwest Atlanta, so just know this is home for me. My son, he did go to Booker T. Washington High School. His first job was at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and he did dual enrollment at Atlanta Technical College. So Southwest is my home, and what I did here with my son, I want to do for the whole state of Georgia. I'm in this runoff after leading a 5-person race. I won with 310,000 votes as my first time running for office. So I just want to let you know, 30% of Georgia voters already said we want Nikki to be our next state labor commissioner. And if that's you in this audience, one, I need you to do it again. But if you did not do it the first time, you made a mistake, and I need you to get back out to the polls and vote for Nikki Porche. I have a number, thank you, yes. I have a number of endorsements for both House and Senate leaders, as well as some groups. We want to make sure that our unions are getting involved too as well. But I'm going to just let you all know why I decided to run for labor. Maybe not. VoteForNikki.com is the website. You can learn more. I'm here for the rest of the duration of the program. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Next candidate.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I won't delay. My name is Karen Renee, and I'll be on the ballot in November. I am running for Fulton County Commissioner District 4, and that district is far and wide. It goes from East Point, College Park, Lakewood, Inman Park, Grant Park, all the way up to Virginia Islands. So I'm asking you for your vote in November. My name is Karen Renee. Please don't delay. And remember, I am Karen Renee. Thank you.
We love to ride, don't we? Yeah, we do. So those are all the extra candidates. Okay, we're good, Ruben?
You can move on.
Okay, our next race is Fulton County Commissioner District 5. Please help me welcome Helen Willis and Sojourner Women. We will begin with 90-second opening statements. Helen Willis, you have 90 seconds for your opening statement. You're welcome.
My name is Helen Zenobia Willis, and I'm honored tonight, and I am to be here, and I am seeking your trust and your vote to be your next Fulton County Commissioner. I was born in Savannah, Georgia, graduated from Savannah State University with a BA in accounting, and I also have a master's in financial accounting. I have dedicated my life to be an accountant and public service, and it started at the tender age of 13 as a candy striper. For 8 years, I proudly served in the city of South Fulton and was elected 3 times by earning the trust of my constituents. During my service, I fought for transparency, fiscal responsibility, public safety, affordable housing, economic development, and I authored legislation to keep ICE detention centers out of our city and warehouses. Tonight, it comes down to who has the experience and the relationships to bring Fulton County services to our region. If you look out, you see a sea of blue. And these are constituents that I have served and that trust me. I have provided health services to my community. I have also addressed food insecurity. I have also brought vaccinations, PPE. I'm Helen Zenobia Willis, and I would love your vote to be the next Fulton County Commissioner. Thank you.
Speaker is Sojourner Remick. Sojourner, you have 90 seconds for your opening statement.
Thank you both, and thank you to the hosts and organizers. Hello, everyone. Hi, it's great to see all of you this evening. My name is Sojourner, and I did this before. Who am I named after? Sojourner. And I am the truth. I'm so delighted to be here with you all this evening. I'm the proud daughter of Dr. Manning Marable and Hazel Ann Harris. I'm the wife to my college sweetheart, Roland. We went to undergrad together at Clark Atlanta. Any CAU Panthers in the house? And then I went on to Penn State and came back here for love. For more than 25 years, my family and I have called South Fulton County home. I've spent those years showing up, advocating for families, and working to strengthen the systems that shape our daily lives. You are looking at a community advocate, a community leader, someone who's rolled up their sleeves and been boots on the ground for 25 years. Black don't crack, I'm 47. Professionally, I bring more than 2 decades of senior leadership experience, leading teams, managing operations, managing multi-billion-dollar budgets. I was the vice president of marketing and comms at a billion-dollar company. And now I'm still rolling up my sleeves, advocating for communities in the senior space, affordable housing space, healthcare space. And I would be delighted to earn your vote during early voting and also on election day. Thank you.
We now move to our first community selected question. Helen Willis, your question is as follows. Residents frequently raise concerns about illegal dumping, blight, code enforcement, and neighborhood beautification. What specific actions would you take to improve quality of life in District 5?
Well, those services rest with most of the municipalities. What's unique about Fulton County is that they have 15 cities. We are totally municipalized. And so what I would do as your next Fulton County Commissioner is partner with the cities with cleanup. I will also advocate on the County Commission to put forth funding to help with cleanup. I will work with the cities to turn blight into opportunity. I have experience with that because I turned a blighted apartment community to workforce housing. We also need to work with putting education programs in our schools to teach our kids that they should not litter in our communities. Look, it starts at a tender age. We also need to incorporate cleanup programs in our schools so that our kids can come out and help us clean up our community. If they clean up their community, they will care more about their community. Look, it costs a lot of money to keep blight and communities clean. And it's going to be all hands on deck. We're all in this together. Most of this rests with the cities. We also have beautification grants that we can support on the county level to help our cities. This region has 8 cities. City of South Fulton being the largest city in the region. But it's not going to be, we have to make sure it's equitable throughout the region. It's all hands on deck. As your next county commissioner, I plan to serve you just like I served for over 8 years in the city of South Fulton.
All right. You have the same question. Residents frequently raise concerns about illegal dumping, blight, code enforcement, and neighborhood beautification. What specific actions would you take to improve the quality of life in District 5?
You know, 6 out of the 8 mayors are supporting my campaign. And so I have strong relationships in all of the cities that are in our district, District 5. And so I'm grateful for that. And so as far as blight, I would educate folks. I would also, there's See-Click Fix app. I would educate folks on using that and utilizing it because it works. I would also partner with schools. I'm very fortunate to have strong relationships with both Fulton County and Atlanta Public Schools and talk about the importance of keeping our environment safe. I'm also proud to say that I have the Georgia Conservation Voters endorsement. My background, where I used to live, was in Boulder, Colorado. And so I take recycling very seriously and keeping our communities clean. So I would be an advocate for that and educating folks on what they need to do and where they need to go in order to report these things. Thank you.
Please stay, because you are getting the second community selected question. Many residents want to see more investment in youth programs, workforce development, and recreation opportunities. What role should Fulton County play in supporting young people and working families?
That's a great question. I mentioned earlier, and I don't know if I did, but I have 2 sons. I have a 16-year-old who is at Westlake High School, and I have a rising 19-year-old who is at Tuskegee University. And so any programming around youth is close to my heart. And so I want to make sure that our youth have activities. I want to make sure that those activities are funded. Fulton County provides about $50 million to nonprofit organizations. So we want to make sure that those organizations are funded and that a lot of them impact our youth and so that they can have resources that they need. Thank you.
Helen Willis, same question. I will repeat it. Many residents want to see more investment in youth programs, workforce development, and recreation opportunities. What role should Fulton County play in supporting young people and working families?
So Fulton County, a lot of the things that we do in Fulton County is mandated by the state. I am endorsed by a majority of the state legislators. I'm also endorsed by the 5 justice partners who have partnered with me to bring youth programs to the city of South Fulton. I have also partnered for the past 6 years with the current commissioner who also endorses me to bring teen jobs to the city of South Fulton and Fulton County. Look, we complain about teen takeover, but we need to make sure we continue to incentivize our employers for our teens to take over jobs and train jobs. We need to continue to support the Workforce program who has come out to my job training programs. As a city council member, I also instituted a mentoring program called Every Girl Shines. We also, in the city of South Fulton, under my leadership we have instituted the Police Athletics Association program. Lastly, let's not forget, we do have a Fulton County Recreation Authority. And I would like to use that Recreation Authority to institute and to provide more funding throughout the 8 cities in the city of South Fulton to bring more recreation programs. We have a large community of special needs kids. We also don't need to forget about them because every child deserves to play. We have to take care of our entire ecosystem. Thank you.
No, Ms. Willis, please stay. Oh, okay, go get it. Because you now have to make your closing statement, and you have 2 minutes to make it. Okay.
Thank you to everyone who has joined me tonight and the organizers for providing this important opportunity. Over the course of this campaign, my campaign has been above board and have been very respectful. You don't see negativity coming from my campaign or attacking my opponent. We have been very transparent. We have filed every campaign disclosure timely, unlike my opponent. For 8 years, I've sat at the table making difficult decisions that affect thousands of families. I work to protect taxpayers, strengthen neighborhoods, improve public safety, expand economic development opportunities, and ensure government transparency. I don't just talk, I walk. I help impact change. As your next Fulton County Commissioner, my priorities are clear. I will continue fighting for quality health care, expansion on the south side of health care. I will advocate for seniors. That's why they're here advocating for me to get elected. I will work to improve infrastructure, strengthen our libraries, support grading and public health, create pathways for good paying jobs, and make every community in District 5 proud. The race is not about personality, it's about people over politics. I have a proven record, proven my leadership. I have provided addressed food insecurity. I have served my seniors. I have served my community. I have served our teens. I have made sure that everyone in Fulton County is educated, in the South Fulton region is educated in every community outreach program that I have instituted in my region. I have made sure that we have instituted education on voting rights, and we have registered people to vote. Go to the polls starting June 6th and vote for Helen Zenobia Willis. I will be honored to serve you as your next Fulton County Commissioner.
Don't believe the hype. Because this right here is a serious matter. Thank you again to the organizers and the hosts. My name is Sojourner, and I am the truth. Systems are only as good as the people trusted to lead them. For more than 25 years, let that sink in, 25 years, I have been serving and living in this community. I am a community organizer who cares deeply about people, and it is me who puts people over politics, not my opponent. Period. I am the truth, and I stand on that. I've worked in local government. I'm the only candidate that has worked at Fulton County government. I served under the direction of Chairman John Eames as his Director of Constituent Services. I've worked in affordable senior housing during COVID, making sure that thousands of seniors had meals delivered to their doors. I am the truth. Don't believe the hype, because there is a lot of hype happening. There's a reason why 6 out of the 8 mayors are supporting me. There is a reason why 4 of the city councilwomen who worked with my opponent are supporting me. There is a reason, if you look on my door knocker, provided in the back, why nearly all of the South Fulton County elected officials, community organizers are supporting me. Because I care deeply about people. And for nearly half of my life, I've been making sure that people get the resources that they need to thrive. I care deeply about you. Please go to electsojourner.com to learn more about my background. I am the truth. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our candidates, and thank you for applause for our District 5 candidates. And now we move to to our final race of the evening. The Fulton County Commission Chair. The Fulton County Commission Chair serves as one of the most influential leadership...
Monica is speaking, please.
The Fulton County Commission Chair serves as one of the most influential leadership positions in our region. The Chair oversees county operations, budgets, services, and major investments that impact residents throughout Fulton County. Please help me welcome to the stage Mo Ivory and Rob Pitts, who are in the runoff.
All right. We will begin with 90-second opening statements. Mo Ivory, you have 90 seconds for your opening statement.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for hosting us tonight. My name is Mo Ivory. I am a wife, a mother of 6, a grandmother of 2, a Spelman College graduate, an attorney, professor, and a former Fulton County Commissioner. I'm running for Fulton County Commission Chair because Fulton County residents should not have to keep raising the same concerns year after year after year and wonder if anyone is listening. It did not take me long to see what residents had been saying for years. The jail is in a crisis. Healthcare access remains a challenge, especially in the south part of the county. Our election and voting rights are under attack. Taxpayers deserve greater accountability for how their money is spent. Throughout my time in public service, I have focused on asking the right questions, bringing the right people together, and delivering results. I have stood up for Fulton County voters even when it was unpopular, and even when it came with personal and political attacks. Chairman Pitts believes experience is measured by how long you've been there. I believe experience is measured by how quickly you can identify problems and how effectively you can solve them. The question is not how long have you been there, the question is what have you accomplished while you were there. Fulton County deserves leadership that pays attention, acts with urgency, and delivers results. This is the reason why I am running for chair.
Rob Pitts, you now have 90 seconds for your opening statement.
Thank you very much. I'm Rob Pitts. I wasn't fortunate enough to be born in Atlanta, but I am a native Georgian, born in the country, Jones County. That's right. I lived there and I moved to Dayton, Ohio to live with my mother when I was 5 years old, raised by my grandparents. Finished high school and attended 2 different universities in Ohio. I actually began my professional career as a university professor at Kent State University in Ohio. Then I heard about a job opening here at Clark College in Atlanta. Then Professor Vivian Henderson had heard of me, offered me a job over the phone for $10,000, and I took it. So that's what brought me back to the state of Georgia for the first time, and for the first time in Atlanta. Politically, I've been honored to serve you in a number of roles. First and foremost, as a member of the Atlanta City Council, I served you honorably as president of the Atlanta City Council. Also with privilege to serve you as a member of the Board of Commissioners of Fulton County. And for the last 7 years, I've been chairman of the Board of Commissioners of Fulton County. Fulton County is recognized as one of the top counties in these United States of America. There are some 2,350 plus counties. We're recognized by some as number 4, and that is a big deal for you, those of you who are residents of Fulton County, Georgia.
Thank you, candidates. We now move to our first community selected question. Mo Ivory, your question is as follows. Southwest Atlanta residents want safer neighborhoods, stronger county services, and greater accountability. What will be your top priority during your first year as chair?
Thank you so much for that question. Actually pay attention to South Fulton. Actually allocate resources to South Fulton. And find out the reasons why there has not been economic development coming to the southern part of our county for a very long time. I'm proud to be endorsed by the mayor of Hapeville, the mayor of East Point, the mayor of College Park, and the mayor, Carmelita Gums, who I believe is here, of South Fulton. And that is because we want to bring fresh new ideas to figure out decades-old problems that have persisted. If you ask yourself, what has changed for you in South Fulton in the last 2 decades? What do you see? You still don't have a hospital. You still don't have the economic development that you need. You still don't have the infrastructure that is plentiful on the north side. So how will I think about economic development in South Fulton? I will start actually thinking about it. I will start actually acting on it. I will form partnerships with the mayors to identify the top 3 things that they need, and then I will execute on it. But execution calls for budget and calls for money. So then you have to be willing to put your money where your mouth is. And I am willing to do that. The first thing I will do when I become the chair is a forensic audit of our budget. Because I have asked for that in 2026 legislation, and Chairman Pitts voted it down. If you don't know where the money is, then how can you spend it wisely? I will find the money, I will use it wisely, and I will finally bring it to the south side of Fulton.
Mr. Pitts, you had the same question. Southwest Atlanta residents want safer neighborhoods, stronger county services, and greater accountability. What will be your top priority if you are re-elected?
You said Southwest Atlanta, and I'll include that to mean South Fulton County as well. It all begins with the budget and your money. What we forget is that the money that we spend is your money. I've been known as a taxpayer's watchdog since my days on the Atlanta City Council. We have what's called a AAA bond rating. That's come about for the first time in Fulton County's history under my leadership. What's the benefit of that? When we go to borrow money to the market, we get it at the lowest possible interest rate. That's significant for you and to you. But it's also true. North side is pretty well developed. City of Atlanta is pretty well developed. The need is in South Fulton County, Southwest Atlanta and South Fulton County, and that's where the focus of this administration is going to be and will continue to be. For example, we recently opened, in fact, early this week, we accepted our first patient at the freestanding emergency clinic operated by Grady Hospital in South Fulton County. My idea, my product. The second part of that will be a freestanding medical office building that will have all the specialties, and the big daddy of them all will be a brand new 200-bed hospital as the third and final phase. But in addition to that, in College Park, we're building a botanical gardens. Think about that. You have a botanical gardens in Midtown, but now you're going to have a botanical garden, bigger and better, in College Park. South Fulton County also, we're building a brand new school, my idea in conjunction with Dr. Victoria Seals, president of Atlanta Technical College. I'll talk about that in a minute. Thank you.
Don't leave the podium. Don't leave the podium, because we're moving to our second community selected question. How would you ensure that county resources and economic development opportunities are distributed equitably throughout Fulton County, including communities in Southwest Atlanta?
That dovetails good with the answer that I was given before. It's your money, but what do we do with that money? Our focus, my focus, has been and will continue to be Southwest Atlanta and South Fulton County. From a jobs point of view, South Fulton County. We're doing that now. In fact, there's misinformation that we spend more money in North Fulton County than we do on the south side of the county. That's just not true. There's some $2.3 billion that we're spending. Infrastructure, road improvements, things of that nature, getting the South County ready for economic development. Economic development begins with having the proper and the right infrastructure in place. And you just talk about this nonsense about a forensic audit. If you were at the county enough, on the commission long enough to understand the budget process, where it's open, it's transparent, anybody can see it. If you understand that process, you don't need an audit. I know what's in it. I've studied it, and it's open to the public. We have that AAA bond rating. That is really significant. I keep coming back to that because that means that we're managing your tax dollars properly. And that's why I have opposed and will continue to oppose property tax or millage rate increases as was proposed at the last meeting by my opponent, a 14.2% millage rate increase. I defeated it then. If it comes up again, I'll defeat it. Your property tax rate under my administration has remained level for the past 7 years, and for the foreseeable future, it will be level.
Mo Ivory, same question. The question being, how would you ensure that county resources and economic development opportunities are distributed equitably throughout Fulton County, including communities in Southwest Atlanta?
To believe that the money has been spread evenly across North Fulton and South Fulton is to say that your eyes are not seeing what they see. If you go look at the neighborhoods in South Fulton and you go look at the neighborhoods in North Fulton, you will know that that is not true. Right now, currently, there is no hospital in South Fulton or Southwest Atlanta, and there are 5 in North Fulton. So let's start being truthful about how we've handled the budget. Chairman Pitts has spent months talking about a tax increase that never happened. First, I was trying to raise it 12%, then 13%, then 14%, and now he's at 14.5%. That number keeps changing because the claim was never true. So let's start moving into the truths. And the truths are that we have never invested in economic development in the South Side. Would you choose a botanical gardens over making sure that you have the fresh groceries that you need, the senior center that has never come to South Fulton? Would that be your priority? No, I don't think so. So we need to think about the priorities of our county, look at our budget, and if you were not afraid of what a forensic audit would show, you would not be afraid to have one. If the auditor is employed by Fulton County under your leadership, what kind of results do you think they'll deliver to you? I asked for an independent forensic audit, and his gang of 4, which is his voting bloc, including 2 Republicans, 1 a MAGA Republican, voted it down because they do not want you to know where the money is. I'm going to find it.
Don't leave the podium. You now have to make your closing statement, which is 2 minutes.
Thank you so much. As in most of our debates tonight, you heard 2 very different versions of Fulton County. Chairman Pitts believes experience is measured by how long you've been there. I believe experience is measured by what you notice, what you question, what you fix, and what results you deliver. Over the course of this campaign, I have talked about the issues that matter most to residents: public safety, health care, the jail crisis, voting rights, accountability, and transparency. What I've learned is that many of our biggest challenges are not new. Residents have been telling us the same thing for years. Problems do not get better with age. They get more expensive and harder to solve. When I saw an $80 million line item labeled Other in the budget, I asked questions. When I could not get those answers, I filed a resolution calling for an independent forensic audit of the 2026 budget. Because before we ask taxpayers for more money, we should be able to account for the money we already have. Transparency should not be controversial. Accountability should not be optional. If taxpayers are paying the bills, taxpayers deserve the receipts. This is not politics about politics as usual. This is about whether county government is going to respond with urgency to what residents deserve. The challenges Fulton County have are too important to keep doing the things the way we've always done them. Leadership is not measured by how long you've been there. Leadership is measured by whether people's lives are better because you were there. The question in this election is not who has been here the longest. The question is, are we all prepared to move Fulton County forward with a new generation of leadership? If you believe it's time for accountability, transparency, and results, then I gratefully ask for you to go vote for me in this runoff election. One more time. One more time. So thank you.
Rob Pitts, you have 2 minutes for your closing statement, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. In my opening remarks, I stated that Fulton County is one of the top counties in the United States of America. How do I know this? I know this because we've been rated as such by the rating agency. But I also know this because my counterparts across the country called me and asked me, how are you able to do what you do for your citizens without raising taxes? That's how I know that we're doing such a great job here. Georgia and Fulton County are two of the most fastest growing areas in the whole country. Why is that? Because of our government. Georgia, Fulton County, people are flocking here because of what we have to offer. Now, it's also true, though, that we are under attack by Donald Trump and Washington and his allies. They're coming for Fulton County. They're coming for our district attorney. They're coming for me. But that's okay, because I know that the truth is on our side. We're going to prevail in this war with the federal government and with President Trump coming after Fulton County, Georgia. I know this, and you know this. The night, January 28th, when the FBI raided our warehouse, I was there. I didn't flock there after some found out there were TV cameras there. They called me to come to see what was going on. I went there for two reasons. First and foremost, to make sure that our employees were safe, but number two, to make sure that we complied with everything that the FBI wanted. My issue, my fight is not with the men and women of the FBI, because they were there directed by Donald Trump and that Tulsi Gabbard who came. But he was there to make sure that we did not have an incident here like they had in Minnesota. This is about leadership. You do not turn a multi-billion-dollar corporation over to somebody who quit the job after 12 months on the job, and I brought to the job. You need experience in this. This is not the time for on-the-job training in Fulton County, Georgia. We are at war. Experience does matter. I've never embarrassed you in my years of service.
Thank you to both of our candidates. Can we have a round of applause for all of the candidates?
And can you give it up for our moderators? And you all give it up for yourselves. Y'all have been a well-attentive audience, and like she said, cordial. Thank y'all so much. Make sure you vote. Early voting does start this Saturday, June 6th. So go ahead and get out there. Y'all have a great night. Thank y'all. Give it up again for yourselves. Have a good one.
Good night.